I want to bring in our next guest, Rebecca Walser, Walser Wealth Management President, also Fox Business Correspondent, Madison Allworth. And I just got to give you props because at least for 3 years, maybe longer, you've been saying, hey, the world's going to hell in a handbasket, paraphrasing.
Yep.
Load up on gold.
Yes.
You have made your clients a lot of money.
Well, since 2020, we knew that we had never had that level of printing globally in the history of time, and that it was going to have an impact and that people would have to revert to hard assets again, and gold will be a winner. Absolutely.
Still saying it.
Still, absolutely. I mean, like your guest just last said, he expects 5,000. So yes, absolutely. It's not too late.
All right. So I want to stay on this, this government and what's happening around the world and the big government stuff. Madison, it's not getting any better. It feels like, this whole dystopia thing is a real thing. Maybe a few years ago, no one would have thought, but it does feel that way.
Absolutely. And I mean, I know one thing we wanted to talk about was the Telegram CEO, because we do have the news. Telegram now, they say they're going to give more data to governments for criminal activity, right? But the reason that this came about is because the Telegram CEO was arrested in France. And because of that, now he's out on bail. But explain to me how the governments in Europe want to say, give us information from criminals. And by the way, the way we're going to do that is by turning you into a criminal.
Right. Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. These are the folks that we're supposed to trust with that data. It doesn't ring well.
Ukraine sends a lot of their communications out on Telegram. A lot of people do.
Yes.
And I wonder, Rebecca, could it get so bad, honestly, that at some point a Western government arrests Elon Musk, for instance?
Well, that's the scary thing, is if you're going to basically arrest the CEOs of these companies because they're not providing you whatever government censorship or whatever data you want to go after individuals directly on a platform, if people don't feel like they can be themselves and have free speech on a platform, they're not going to use the platform. And then that makes it irrelevant for the government in the first place. But we cannot have these governments arresting our CEOs of platforms that are supposed to be our free speech platforms.
Well, it looks like it's working because they're going to give up more data. Hey, it's not just governments, also big companies, right? This story blew me away. NatWest, a big bank out in the UK, they launched a carbon footprint tracker, right? And you say, okay, maybe that's cute, it's because they want to fight climate change, but this thing went really far. It would urge you, it would say, hey, listen, it would scold you if you bought like beef or dairy. It would suggest that you get rid of them, maybe bring in non-dairy or plant-based stuff. They put pressure on their customers to partake in Veggie Mondays. I mean, Madison, this is your generation. What the hell's going on?
It is so alarming to me, Charles. When you guys sent this story, I could not believe it, because talk about Big Brother, the idea that they're tracking, not just, there's talk in the U.S. of doing this with guns, but now they're saying doing it with meat because of carbon footprint. It bothers me for two reasons. One, the same CEOs, if you will, or, executives at these banks, they're flying all over the world on their private jets, which, by the way, is the biggest contributor to, global warming.
And I guarantee you the CEOs, you go to the executive lounge, they're probably eating steak every day.
Absolutely.
Every day, like Al Gore.
Yes. And then the problem is, you take this one step further. Okay, right now they're tracking. What if they start locking your card when you're at the butcher? That's my concern, and we're increasingly going cashless away from those hard assets.
This was the scary thing, Charles. They would use their bank card, and their bank would see that they were buying steak and be that invasive to pop up, maybe try a bean alternative burrito or something. Like, they literally giving you that kind of information. And this is why cryptocurrency, digital dollar, is something that we need to literally have massive agreement with, because this is what the government can do when they start controlling all the actual
And what's really amazing to me is free market stuff. If you look at the share of Beyond Meat or oat, the oat milk or whatever, they're down like 95%. There's no demand for this stuff, and they're going to force it down our throats.
Exactly.
All right, so we're living in a real crazy dystopian world. Everyone's worried and afraid, but we do have some good news. The typical American lives only 18 miles from mom. We're going to put up this chart because, my mom passed away a few years ago, but it's just a beautiful thing. She lived with us for a long time. Now, I will say, those folks in the Plain States, they're 44 miles away, so they're made of tougher stuff than us in New York. Only 8 miles away. What do you think?
They've got the horses.
Well, they're far away from everything. You want to go to the grocery store? It's a journey. My friends out in not the same area, but Minnesota, they would drive hours to get to friends or to so it's just a different world.
I get you.
You got to be close in New York because everything is close. But I think this is beautiful. I got a great job, but I took this job in part because I wanted to be closer to my family in Jersey. Family is everything. Yeah. And at least we get that straight in this country. That's good.
I mean, Rebecca, you're a mom. My son just moved to Miami, but before that, all three of my kids lived in 40 minutes of me.
I love that. And I think that in times that are difficult, you're going to lean on family more than ever. So, make sure that you know where your family is, and especially as the election gets closer.
So bottom line for you, family, a lot of gold, and what else?
Guns? Real money, not digital dollars and cryptocurrency that's coming. Yeah.
Well, we'll see what happens. I mean, it is a tough time. And the irony of all ironies is the stock market doesn't care, because as long as there's money